So in this next section, we'll be looking at connecting the breath with the pelvic floor. So in the previous section, we talked about the connection of how the diaphragm that creates the top of the abdominal canister really affects what's down below, mostly because we are upright beings and gravity works from a top to bottom orientation. So the pelvic floor really does get the brunt of everything that happens on top of it. And so we can actually really use our breath to enhance and affect the pelvic floor in a really positive, sometimes a negative way, but this is where we're going to work to use the breath to enhance its capacity for the better. So I'll get you to find a comfortable seat again. I'm on a chair this time just so that I'm a little bit more supported and I can feel a little bit more of my grounding in through the bottom of my pelvis, in through the perineum, in that space between the sits bones right and left and the pubic bone, tailbone, front and back. So see if you can find a comfortable seat there. If you feel like you still can't feel well grounded, what you can do is place a folded blanket or a towel just between your seat there to help give you a little more awareness. And now I'll get you just to close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or if not, you can just close them down a little bit. And I want you to tune in to your seat in your mind's eye. So noticing, do you feel grounded right and left? Does it feel different side to side? Does it feel different front to back at all? And just an awareness. So I don't want you to shimmy to try to make it even, but just an awareness with no judgment. So now that you've found your seat and you're aware of the sensations in the pelvis, we'll work on the breath. So you can bring your hands to the back sides of your ribs where we had them before, or you can just have them resting on your lap wherever is most comfortable. And then we'll take a nice breath in and exhale, let it go. So your next in-breath, you'll do your 360 expansiveness, but also notice what happens in the pelvic floor and in the perineum. So notice what happens in your seat as you breathe in. And then notice what happens as you breathe out. So keep going. Typically what people will notice when they're doing their inhale is that the pelvic floor should actually drop down and come into more contact with the chair. So you might feel a fullness, more filling of that space between the sits bones right and left, pubic bone, tailbone, front and back. And then the exhale, they might feel that space just rise a little bit. You may also notice the opposite, which is fine, although non-optimal, and we'll work to make that more optimal. But just again, gain that awareness. So as you breathe in to your ribs and as they expand, does the pelvic floor and the perineum lengthen equally, right, left, front, back? And on the exhale, does it rise evenly? So now we'll bring your awareness with a slightly different breath. So just focusing on a belly only breath. So you can place your hand on your belly. As you breathe in, try to expand and puff your belly out as big as you can. And then exhale, let it go. We'll do 2 more there. Seeing as you breathe in, what do you notice in the pelvic floor? Right, left, front, back, both on the inhale and on the exhale. 1 more breath into your belly only, breathe into that hand. And then exhale, let it go. Now I'll get you to breathe only into your chest. You can bring your hand onto your chest. Breathe in. And exhale, let it go. So I am feeling less movement in my pelvic floor as I breathe only into my chest compared to just my belly. You might feel something different, and that's fine. Again, this is just an awareness exercise rather than anything purposeful as far as strengthening or mobilizing. 1 more breath in here and an awareness in the pelvis. And now we'll do our 360 breath. So breathe into the back sides of your ribs. Notice what's happening in your pelvis. And exhale, let it go. 2 more here. Last one. So the difference that I felt between the belly breath, the chest breath, and the 360 thoracic expansion breath is that with the belly breath, I felt a lot more pressure in the front part of my pelvic floor, more around the urethra and just below the pubic bone. With the chest breath, I felt less movement overall in general in my pelvic floor. And with the thoracic expansion breath, I felt more overall distribution of pressure throughout the entire pelvic floor and more awareness of the right and left expansiveness of the pelvic floor. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what you will be feeling. However, that is my experience, and I really just want you to get a sense of how that feels in your body. So as we go through the next bits of exercise, you have an awareness of the changes as they come along.